Yes, I hope you enjoyed that cinematic showcase on Here to Slay that I spent weeks and weeks and weeks filming and planning and shooting and everything on, but I am going to have a full, complete breakdown of how I edited that video from step 1 to step 1000 right after this video, so please make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on that one. So Here to Slay is a card game where you have 3 action points to spend on your turn. You'll be using those points to draw cards, to play heroes, items, magic cards, and then rolling dice to use a hero's effect. You can also use your action points to attack monsters and to replenish your hand entirely. The goal of this game is to be the first to slay 3 monsters or have a first party of 6 different heroes on your team. Now let's go ahead and set the timeline as per usual and start off first with the artwork. Now the artwork is very cool. It's a great balance between those that like cute and cuddly and those that like the whole tough renegade semi-hardcore feel of art combined. You have a cat with a menacing look and glowing eyes dual-wielding swords. Enough said. Now I also love how everything is color coordinated. It's so satisfying. You have matching patterns and colors and literally designs across standees to meeples to playmats. Everything is strictly coordinated, and I love that. There's nothing to complain about the artwork. Now next up are components. If you were to strip down everything to its core, this is ultimately a card game. You literally only need a couple decks of cards in order to play. Now material-wise of the cards, it's okay. It's not like a premium super thick material, but it's not super thin and flimsy either. It's a good mix in between. These cards, however, do not shuffle well, so I do recommend card sleeves. If you don't get the custom ones that they have, that they offer, then at least get some of your own. These are standard card sleeves, but you do have, of course, the extended cards that have different dimensions that I'll also list right here. So at least at the very minimum, get a standard deck of plain card sleeves. Those I highly recommend for sure. Why? Because they're the main components, and ultimately they will make your life much easier as you're shuffling and playing around with the game. Now the Kickstarter version that I do have does come with a mini dice tower. This is, however, the first one that I've seen without a base. I mean, I understand why it doesn't have a base because your dice aren't really gonna roll off. Like, it's gonna be set on the table. So it has one level to it and it's nice and it gets the job done. The dice, however, are really nice. These actually feel like custom unique dice. The 1 symbol on it, I thought it was actually a special unique symbol, but it is just representing a 1. But overall, these actually feel like custom unique dice. They have a nice solid feel to it. It's not hollow and they look good. I also want to quickly mention the box because they do have magnetized box covers, and that's always nice to have as well. And lastly are the acrylic standees. Now I've mentioned this many times across several videos by now, and these are the very first acrylic standees, or standees in general, that I absolutely love. I've raved about these standees across several platforms and content by now, but I mentioned this because for me, personally, I don't like standees. Just seeing standees for a board game, they normally kind of just turn me away from the game itself, unless they have options for miniatures instead. But normally, I don't like standees. These, however, are the very first standees that I do love, actually. The material is a full-on acrylic premium material. It's very nice and thick, and it's a great balance between miniatures and plastic standees. So these are definitely the first ones that I do enjoy. Now the meeples are also super cool, and they are custom shaped, tailored to each type of hero, and color-coded. Love that. But the problem is, they don't have any kind of integration to the game. The standees and the meeples are purely for looks. Now I'll be honest, I did semi-blindly back the game because it looked so good and the mechanics looked pretty fun from what I was reading from the Kickstarter campaign page. But getting it and playing the game, I realized that both the standees and the meeples serve no purpose. So if I were to go back, I probably wouldn't have gotten the standees or the meeples. They do look nice. And if you do want those kind of meeples to be used in other games as well, then that's definitely an option for you. But for me personally, I think I'd be okay with just the cards. Now the standees will literally sit on top of your playmat, and that's their only function. And you are supposed to use your meeples as just markers. So if you have a thief in your party, I guess you can put a meeple here. That way everyone can see vertically, I guess, that you have a thief in your party. Now had I known that, I probably would have just gotten the cards with the card sleeves. Now that leads me next to gameplay. I really wish the standees and the meeples could be incorporated into the game somehow. And what I was thinking, hear me out here, what I was thinking was to have one main board. Of course the board would have to be way bigger because the standees are so huge, but I would have one main board, and maybe every player starts at like a different corner, and you have to work your way in order to slay certain monsters. So for example, let's say you have the Titan Wyvern. Maybe you have to work your way by like rolling dice to get to a volcano in order for you to attack the Titan Wyvern. And of course, there would be obstacles for you to navigate through the different terrain in order for you to get to the Titan Wyvern or all the other monsters in their home locations. A volcano, ice mountain, a swamp. Like I would be okay if it even had that classic board game feel, that nostalgia, where you're just as you go into each space, something happens to you and your character, a good thing or a bad thing or just a neutral space. So that's one way I was thinking of incorporating the acrylic standees. But for the meeples, I was thinking about some kind of territory control, kind of like Small World. That'd be a really fun way to incorporate both. So somehow, maybe having just a general map for you to play with the standee and with the meeple, on top of playing with all the cards, I think that would make this game so much more fun. And you wouldn't even have to change the game, really. I think you would just have to add on a game board. And there you go. You have integration of both the standees and the meeples. That'd be a great idea for an expansion. But with that said, that is the only thing that I have to complain about. Bottom line, this game is incredibly fun. It's highly replayable. It is hands down one of the most fun card games that I've played in quite some time. What I love most about it especially is the player interaction, the challenge cards. For example, let's say you want to play a hero, someone else plays a challenge card, you win the challenge, and then as you go on to attack a monster, someone modifies your dice roll, so there's this constant player interaction going back and forth between you and every other player. I love the secrecy of not knowing who has what card, and I love hesitating before you are playing an action, especially around the end of the game when everyone has around like 2 monsters slayed and around 4 to 5 heroes in their party. That tension and that anxiety just increases in a good way, and it really keeps you guessing on whether or not you should play certain things on your turn and who's going to affect your turn with modifiers and magic cards and all this. There's just so much going on during your turn and I love it. Essentially, it's like this rat race where everyone's kind of gnawing and crawling at each other and kind of pushing each other away, trying to get to the top. Now to add on to that, each game that I played feels pretty balanced. Sometimes I feel like I'm right there and I'm right about to win, but then all of a sudden I just get knocked down a couple pegs. And then the next player cruises right behind me and then I spend 3 action points to get a brand new hand, and the turn after that, I get to use all these modifiers and challenge cards on this person, which knocks them down, and then I go back up. So this constant bickering back and forth is what makes this game incredibly fun. And with that in mind, I cannot wait to introduce this game to a bunch of my friends once we can all get together. It would 100% make a great gateway game for those that are looking to get into the hobby. On top of that, it is super fast to learn. You can learn it in less than 10 minutes. Actually, you can learn it in 7 minutes according to this tutorial over here. But there really is a very easy learning curve for new players and a solid amount of depth for seasoned players. Like I said, it's highly replayable. You don't usually want to play just one game. You want to play like 2 or 3 games at once because every monster set is going to be different from every game. You can play with different player powers because you have asymmetrical player powers. And the winning conditions, even though there are only 2, it makes you kind of strategize. You don't have to necessarily go one way the whole game. You can always switch and pivot and go towards the other strategy. You can go towards 2 monsters, but then if that becomes too hectic with everyone kind of targeting the next monster, then you can kind of just slowly recruit more heroes for your party. Overall, each time I played this game, I had a good time. So I highly recommend this card game. It's light, but very entertaining. It is great for introducing new players to the hobby, and it's one of those games where you kind of just want to play again and again. You can't really play it just once, which is always a nice feeling to have until you're up till 4 AM because one more round was 3 hours ago, and now instead of best out of 3, it became best out of 5, which became best out of 7. And those are my thoughts on Here to Slay. So if you played Here to Slay, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. If you have any questions about the game, did you like the cinematic showcase? Are you planning to get the game? If you have this game, do you think it's fun as well? Let me know down below. And with that, have a great, fantastic, fun weekend.